Life is an amazing podcast, and it is presented and hosted by myself, Caro, and my sweet dog Sparky. Give it up for him. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of Go For Your Life, and I'm here with the beautiful Dara and Simon. Dara.
Yay,
Thank you so much for being with me. We met last year, September, but I felt we met 500 years ago and 400 years ago and 300 years ago. You know, it was very good to meet you and be with you, and yeah, you're wonderful people. So I'm so grateful that we're gonna have this conversation to share with the rest of the world. Yay!
Nice. Yes. Yay! The crowds roar.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
From Amsterdam to Malta, we are today, because I feel like I'm still traveling because of the podcast. You know, at least it's like, oh, at least we're kind of traveling in space and time and place. So thank you so much, for being with me. Super awesome.
Thank you for what you do and the kind of multifaceted expression of life force that you are. Yeah, we kind of met you in the sense of a chef, but it was soon realized that you're far more than a chef, and also I would call you my kind of a super chef.
The super chef. Yeah, we had and we had an amazing time because it was very last minute. Because when we met last September, you had chefs, but then because of the whole Corona crap, they couldn't really get to you guys. And then I made the decision of driving over with Jonneke, and we just had an amazing time in the naked retreat. But I'll get back to that a little bit later, because I'd love to, because I even have I'm sure you remember, because I have the quote here that I will share in a minute. But I first love to talk about, I saw that you now have the Be Love Tribe, and reading from the website, it says that you started it in January this year. Can you talk a little bit about what that is? And it looks really amazing and beautiful.
Cool. Yeah. Happy to. You want to begin?
Well,
why we birthed the Be Love Tribe?
Yeah, we originally birthed it. I think always in our work there's this drive to find community, to create community, because one of the main things that we are noticing in our work, and we work around connection, sexuality, authentic communication, like really bringing people together. And what we're noticing as we're doing that is that many people feel very alone when they go on this path, especially in the beginning. They feel like there's nobody else around them. And when they come to workshops and retreats, they realize for the first time, oh, there are other people like me out there. Oh my God. And they share the same values, and they want to live similarly, and they want to connect to themselves and start loving themselves. How beautiful it is. But then they go back to their life and there's no support. Once again, they just find themselves in these old structures of the life that they've been basically building up to living in an partly unconsciousness. So they're fighting with this loneliness. And whenever we do retreats and workshops, we've always had this this drive to connect people afterwards, to not let them just hanging. So even on our retreats afterwards, we keep the people connected. We do monthly Zoom hangouts. We we do sometimes gatherings, like bringing people from all different retreats back together and just go a little deeper. So there's constantly in our work, it's not just a workshop, or you don't come just to something. You are invited to actually enter community living, because we feel that there's this huge calling right now on the planet for community life.
Absolutely,
where we can connect and actually see ourselves not just in the mirror of our partner or our kids or whoever is kind of closest to us, but in a bigger hall of mirrors, as we like to call it. Yeah, every workshop is retreat is a hall of mirrors. You go in and you get to see yourself in the reflections of all these different beings, because really and truly we are all one. And this is not just a concept. When we really understand this to the depth, is that if I enter a room and I meet 27 people, then all these 27 people hold something for me. They hold a gift for me to see and recognize inside of myself. And I really feel like in the age of Aquarius that we're entering right now, we're entering the age of community. We're entering the age of where we are no longer transcending just by sitting in the cave and meditating by ourselves. We're going into a more feminine way of like, no, actually now it's through connection that we're needing to see some other parts that we may have not been able to see in the cave as collective, you know, as a global collective. So the Be Love Tribe is the kind of answer, or the online answer from us to create a tribe, a collective of people who come together, who can support each other, who can show up for each other, who can share resources and gifts and talents, and really be in community, even though it's obviously an online space. But inside it looks a little bit like a Facebook kind of, but it sort of works differently, and it's much more intimate, and we're really trying to not have people share any links and outside links, but actually themselves. So who are you? What is your gift? What is your experience? What have you been going through? Where you do you need support, and where can you support others? So it's also a space where we host our trainings and things like this, but we just kind of opened it up to see like what can we create if we come together with people. What
that's
can
beautiful
emerge, you know. And it's a growing container. It's not something that's stuck or has like a full form yet, but we are just experimenting with how we can show up in community online.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and I also do you want to say something, Simon, to add on, or
I'll let you see what's bubbling for you, because quite a lot there. What pops up for you?
What I was wondering about, and Simon and I sometimes have voice messages, kind of dialogues with each other, which I'm really enjoying. And we spoke about this a little bit before as well, of like moving away from mainstream platforms like Facebook. I also saw you guys are leaving Instagram. So how is that working out? Because the first thing I thought of myself, like, oh, how are these guys getting the word out there? How are you doing with your exposure then? Like how does that, could you, because I'm really curious about that.
I think it's a good curiosity, and it's kind of come up by a lot of people. So I'm happy to speak to that. So first of all, it's kind of not easy, because what happens is there's a massive codependency on social platforms.
Absolutely.
So when we talk Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn, there's become this, as we know, Simon Sinek describes this so beautifully. He's the author of Start With Why, and he kind of broke down the basics of social platforms and the addiction to dopamine, right? So there's a massive addiction to dopamine, and that many of us are addicted, and we're kind of on there. Often we don't know why we're on there. We kind of go into these doorways, and then all of a sudden we can just get taken on a journey into other people's content, other people's concepts, and we get lost. But then we get dependent on it as a form of connection and communication. And also what's happened now is, from a working perspective, a social working perspective, Facebook really, there was even an article about this recently, that Facebook, they realized they've lost the social aspect, yet they've moved more into the marketing business aspect. And that's why
really advertising.
They're really into advertising. I mean, they always were going that way, but now they've realized that even from a social perspective, they've lost that. People are on there, and everyone's just saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. This is what I'm going to talk about, but really I'm talking about this because I want you to go and buy this. And everybody's being kind of molded into these advertising boards.
Absolutely.
Right? All of us included. You know, we've totally been weaved and coerced and algorithmed into this dialogue. So, and then of course, Instagram comes along with a guy that wanted to create something different. And then I recently watched a video where Facebook kind of bullied him in essence, and now they own Instagram. They kind of bullied him out. So now they've got Instagram because they want Instagram to be kind of that more social place where we can try to be a bit more social. So you see a lot of people that want a little bit more connection move into Instagram. But again, what's happening? Everyone wants to be an Instagram fame. Everybody wants to make money and generate and start selling. So you see people now on there promoting their talks, their events, their podcasts and everything else. Because it's like, hey, come and look at me because I've also got something to say, and I need to generate a following, because if I have a following, I can generate money. And at the deepest core, I need money to survive. So that's why it's difficult to then go, oh, I'm going to leave Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp because I don't want to uphold anything to do with Zuckerberg and that kind of entity anymore. What does that look like? And at first there was a lot of resistance. I even had messages from people saying, "You're crazy. If you leave there, you're not going to have people following you. You won't generate any resources, and you won't be able to get people to your events and so on." And I was like, okay, well, that sounds like a fear-based response, you know? So whenever I hear fear-based response, I kind of see the opportunity in that and go, well, actually, if I face my fear, I'm going to end up in more bliss. So what's the opportunity here for me to reevaluate how I'm actually expressing myself and how I'm showing up, or how we're showing up? So the Be Love Tribe merged out of that as well, because it was like, how can we have one umbrella where people can engage with Dara and I and engage with other like-minded beings that we are connected to, and how can we bring them into one umbrella where we can create a vortex of support and energy and sharing our gifts. And when we say sharing our gifts, that doesn't just mean money. When we talk about gift, it's like, you know, you're looking for, say, for example, a graphic designer. And you really want to connect with them, but you know, they're looking for I don't know, wisdom on chefing and wisdom on detoxing and wisdom on yoga, and you guys come together and share some hours of your time and resource, and you both obtain what you want. So we kind of like, yes, money is one way of sharing our gifts, but also our skills, our talents, our resources, our wisdom is a gift. You and everybody listening to this is the gift, right? So that's kind of bringing that in. And then what I also started to do, I started to notice, wow, there's many other beings that are creating mighty networks and communities. Charles Eisenstein moved off of social media and created a mighty network, which is the same platform we're on. And now there's like 3,000 or 5,000 beings in there that are really interested in the topics of the more beautiful world, sacred economics, how to come together in community and so on. Another guy, what's his name? Joe Brewer created one on the regenerative culture. You've got, I'm part of another called Gaia.net, where there's 400 people in there talking about what is the new paradigm. And so all of a sudden this window opened of, here's like genuine communities that are around the kind of topics that I'm interested in, and they're hanging out, and we can share our stuff to them who actually want to receive the juice. So at the moment, I'm like, oh, wow, there's just been this new way of engaging. And I don't feel that I've lost any contact. In fact, lastly, I'll say to you on this, Caro, is that the kind of intimacy and connection that I was getting on Facebook anyway was so drab. I mean, now I'm meeting people in the Be Love Tribe and on these other platforms that are actually engaging with me. Last week, I had a 90-minute talk. I've got another one this week with beautiful 5 beings who have been living in the gift, and they're coming together and we're sharing our own experiences to support each other, to continue to share with our network, right? And it, like, giving 90 minutes of time to that, then some likes and things and hoping for some likes on Facebook. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, in the Be Love Tribe, like what really lives there, or what we're trying to create, is we're doing a lot of live events, meaning online live events, Zoom events, virtual events, and we're also actually just in the process of opening a lounge room, so a room basically that's always open, where people can just click, and if they just want to just hang out for a little while they're online, they can do that. And also the live events where we're just sharing, we're doing certain community practices, we're coming together to get to know each other, and these are people from all over the world, so really
watch parties.
Together I do an online monthly concert. Like, we're really trying to create intimacy. We're creating intimacy between the people, so it's no longer just this quick fix that you go in and press a heart and
exactly. It's way more connection that way as well, right? Really a pure connection.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw one thing in there for you and your listeners, is that the key is this: it's a re-education, Caro, and a lot of people. We spoke about resistance before you press record. A lot of people have resistance at first, because when we're saying show up and share yourself, or come in and reveal yourself, that's kind of challenging at first, because although people want that deeper connection, it goes against the fabric of their conditioning, where at the moment they're like, oh, well, I want to just sort of stay over here and just sort of look from the, and we're saying, well, no, come in, connect, share yourself. Like, what do you need? What do you want? And we're also inviting people to know that their presence. Like when they read somebody's offering and they give full presence and engage, that's a gift.
Yeah.
That's like that you've given your life force energy to really read this person's